A missing person case usually begins with hope. Phones ring, police search, families pray, and in most situations, within hours or days, the story ends with relief. But when months and years pass and there's still no sign, hope turns into a question, then fear, then silence. And silence is exactly what surrounds the disappearance of one man, once celebrated as a hero, now spoken about like a myth. He wasn't just another face in a missing person poster. He was the man Kenya watched walk straight into gunfire at Dusit D2, calm, steady, fearless. A year later, he vanished without a trace. No body, no ransom note, no goodbyes. Some call him a patriot. Others whisper a darker title, mastermind. His name, Dafton Mwitiki. His disappearance is not a simple mystery. It's a doorway into a web of power, crime, betrayal, and a double life no one ever expected. This isn't just a story about a man who went missing. This is the unraveling of Kenya's most chilling unanswered question. What really happened to the red-shirted sharpshooter who became a ghost? January 15th, 2019. Nairobi was under fire. Gunshots cracked through the air at the Dusit complex, sending civilians scrambling for cover. But while hundreds fled, one man boldly did the opposite. He walked straight into the gunfire, dressed in a striking red t-shirt and gripping a rifle with unsettling control. He moved through the chaos with the composure of a man on a quiet stroll. News cameras caught every step, and by nightfall, his face had become a symbol of courage. Kenya hailed him as a national hero, but the celebration didn't last. A little over a year later, the same man disappeared without a trace. His name was Dafton Mwitiki. To some, he was a fearless rescuer. To others, a suspect, a shadow, a man with too many secrets, a marksman, an entrepreneur, an alleged criminal, a missing person. His life reads like a riddle, and his disappearance only deepened the mystery. Dafton was a charismatic Nairobi businessman and skilled marksman whose life blended glamour, adventure, and dark secrets. Born and raised in Kenya in the early 1980s, Dafton built a reputation as a shrewd entrepreneur in Nairobi's bustling business scene. He co-owned a popular restaurant in Galana Plaza, Kilimani, partnering with a Chinese national, possibly the same individual targeted in a later abduction. He also ran Beyond the World, a thriving tours and travel company that catered to adventure seekers and high-end clients, including international tourists drawn to Kenya's safaris and coastal escapes. Described by family as cautious and family-oriented, Dafton was married with 2 young children and often picked them up from school himself, portraying the image of a devoted father in Nairobi's upper-middle-class circles. What set him apart was his passion for firearms. A licensed gun owner and active member of the National Gun Owners Association, Dafton was a celebrated sharpshooter, a precision expert in long-range shooting. He represented Kenya at the 2019 International Defensive Pistol Association in South Africa, where his team proudly competed and earned accolades for their disciplined performance. He even marketed gun ownership advocacy in Kenya, positioning himself as a defender of personal security in a nation grappling with rising urban crime and occasional terror threats. His moment in the spotlight came on January 15, 2019, during the horrific Dusit Hotel terror attack in Nairobi, as Al-Shabaab gunmen stormed the complex, killing 21 people and injuring dozens more in a siege that lasted nearly 20 hours. Photos show him armed and ready, standing alongside figures like former Starehe MP aspirant Steve Mbogo, both dressed in tactical gear amid the smoke and sirens. He helped secure the area and evacuate civilians, earning praise as a civilian hero in a city scarred by violence. Social media celebrated him, turning him into an overnight icon of civilian resilience. On March 11th, 2020, Dafton's ordinary day turned dark. He had a busy schedule, wrapping up deals at his Galana Plaza office. Around 10:45 p.m., after leaving work, he vanished without a trace. His family grew worried when he didn't answer calls, which was unusual for a family man like him. GPS data from his phone last pinged near Galana Road at 10:40 p.m. and CCTV footage captured his black Land Rover Discovery speeding along Thika Superhighway, but the driver remains unidentified. 2 days later, on March 13th, his vehicle was found abandoned and dumped along the Kimbo Kiganja Road adjacent to the Reiki Squad headquarters. The car, registration KCK 997C, showed no signs of a struggle, blood, or forced entry, but its remote location fueled suspicions of foul play. A Boda Boda rider first spotted it, and locals reported it had been there overnight. Detectives from Kenya's Directorate of Criminal Investigations, DCI, launched a manhunt, appealing for tips via public broadcasts. Dafton's uncle made a public plea. Whoever knows any information about Dafton, kindly volunteer this information to the police.
Whoever knows where the whereabouts of Dafton, please volunteer this information to the nearest police station.
Family members insisted he had no enemies, but sources close to the probe whispered otherwise, noting he was under pressure to close an unspecified business deal that day. The case was initially handled by Juja detectives, but was later transferred to Kilimani, where it stalled amid jurisdictional disputes. As weeks passed without leads, the investigation took a dark turn. Police uncovered evidence that Dafton allegedly led a deadly, well-organized kidnapping ring operating in Nairobi's dark corners. Far from being the upstanding businessman, it's alleged that he orchestrated high-profile abductions targeting wealthy foreigners and locals, extorting millions in ransom using encrypted communications, burner phones, safe houses, and rogue insiders from the administration police. The syndicate's sophistication, with the help of insider tips and untraceable tech, evaded initial detection, but busts in early 2020 exposed the network. Sources allegedly described Dafton as the Godfather, planning operations from afar while using his National Gun Owners Association group ties for legal weapon access, which doubled as cover for arming the gang. Key links emerged from two major cases. The first link was the abduction of Mark Toe grandchild in January 13, 2020. He was snatched in broad daylight from the family's Kileleshwa home in Nairobi and driven to Kisumu. Kidnappers demanded 20 million Kenyan shillings, but after negotiations, the family paid 4 million Kenyan shillings for her release without police involvement. It's alleged that phone number used for ransom talks was registered to Dafton, and bank records traced payments to accounts linked to him and associates. The case drew high-level attention. Then President Uhuru Kenyatta reportedly ordered a discreet rescue, but the payout ended it quietly. The second link was the abduction of a Chinese national in February 27, 2020, just weeks before Dafton's disappearance. The Chinese businessman was grabbed in Nairobi and held in a Dagoretti estate hideout. The ransom demand? A staggering 100 million Kenyan shillings. On February 29th, the DCI squad raided the site in a dramatic shootout. rescuing the victim and killing 4 suspects, including rogue cops. Surviving gang members allegedly confessed Dafton as the ringleader during interrogations, which was corroborated by a SIM card registered in his name used for demands. The operation used advanced encrypted devices that initially puzzled investigators until the National Intelligence Service (NIS) intervened. Post-raid, it's alleged that the 4 slain suspects were reportedly killed in custody, which only fueled more cover-up rumors. The aftermath of Dafton's disappearance was only amplified by Kenya's history of unresolved abductions tied to politics and crime. There are several theories linked to his disappearance. The first theory points out that he was likely abducted by gang rivals or victims. With 2 gangs dismantled and ransoms totaling over 104 million Kenyan shillings in demands, vengeful families, competing criminals, or even the rescued Chinese nationals' associates might have silenced him. The Juja dump site near a police facility suggests insider orchestration. The second theory allegedly points out to a possible police hit. As a high-profile suspect betrayed by his gang members, he could have been taken out quietly by rogue elements to avoid a public trial that could have exposed corrupt police officers. Family complaints of investigative foot dragging and case transfers strongly support this. The third theory points out to a possible faked disappearance. Some sources speculate Dafton might have fled the country, perhaps to South Africa via his IDPA contacts or to an East African neighbor. However, no passport activity or financial trails support this. By March 2020's end, the trail went cold. A 2021 All Africa report drew parallels to activist Mwenda Mbijiwe's disappearance. Another car dumped near a coffee farm, no body found, hinting at broader conspiracies in Kenya's underbelly, possibly involving state actors or syndicates. A 2023 YouTube expose echoed this, speculating links to extrajudicial killings. As of November 2025, no breakthroughs have been made, but Dafton's family still holds private vigils, clinging to hope that he'll one day walk home alive. Dafton's case is a cautionary Kenyan saga, a hero with a gun in one hand, shadows in the other. The case exposes the thin lines between civilian acts of valor and criminality in a nation where armed syndicates thrive amid weak oversight. If new details emerge, perhaps from a whistleblower or digital trace, they could rewrite it all. Until then, Dafton Mwitiki joins thousands of Kenya's unresolved missing persons, a ghost in the city's neon haze.